participate by video or audio conference if the member is physically present. Vote to allow her to do so. Is there a motion to allow Trustee Salger to join this afternoon's board meeting?
So moved.
Today's board meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, so we need to get her on by Zoom.
I'm on. Thank you.
Okay, welcome, Trustee Salger. Okay, the first committee meeting is the Executive Committee. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the meeting held September 21st, 2023. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? And Executive Committee is just Trustee, the two trustees down there, Mr. Simmons and Mr. Simmons.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Hedrick.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved. The next item is the schedule of meetings of the Board Trustees for 2025, Board Agenda Item L. Is there any discussion? If not, is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Hedrick.
Yes.
This item is approved by the Executive Committee. If there's no further business before the Executive Committee, this meeting is adjourned. The next committee meeting is the Academic Matters Committee meeting. Dr. Hightower, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The meeting of the Academic Matters Committee is now in session. Dr. Gupchuk, are there any announcements?
Thank you, Dr. Hightower. So in the interest of time, I have just one announcement to make. Similar to the SIU system course exchange program that we've all heard about, our system was recently selected to participate in the National Association of Higher Education Systems, or NASH Transfer Network Improvement Community. So teams from SIU-E and SIU-C are working to improve 2 to 4 year transfer rates, and we're working with some other systems in the country, notably the Mississippi Institutions of Higher Education Learning, the Mississippi Community College Board, and the City College of Chicago. We've already seen some good results in increasing transfer rates, and so we will report our results as they become available. Those are my announcements, Dr. Hightower.
Thank you. The next order of business is the approval of minutes of the July 11th, 2024 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion. Second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, sir. Would you please call a roll?
Hightower,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sarma.
Yes.
Item number 3, Inventor of the Year Award presentation for Dr. Gupchuk.
Thank you, Dr. Hightower. I would like to request Rob Patino, Director of the Office of Technology and Industry Relations, who's joining us remotely, to kindly present the Inventor of the Year Award.
Thank you, Dr. Gupchuk. The SIU System Inventor of the Year Award recognizes an exemplary faculty member of the SIU system that has demonstrated his or her ability to innovate at the highest level and contribute to the betterment of society and the world by taking meaningful steps by advancing their scientific achievements and becoming useful inventions by society and the public at large. To be competitive candidate for the Inventor of the Year Award, the selected faculty member must demonstrate his or her prowess and innovation through invention disclosures, working with the Office of Technology Management and Industry Relations to prosecute patents to issuance, and have shown levels of success in commercializing their discovery through licensure over the past 5 fiscal years. The 2025 Inventor of the Year Award goes to Dr. Phil Jensick. Dr. Phil Jensick received his BS in chemistry from Eastern Illinois University and subsequently received his MS and PhD from the SIU Department of Physiology. His research looks at mutations in genes that result in intellectual disabilities such as speech and autism disorders. He has worked with a pharmaceutical drug company to develop and optimize a genetic therapeutic to assist in combating Huntington's disease, which is a neurodegeneration disease. He has over a dozen pending patent applications throughout the world and his intellectual property is out licensed, generating positive revenue for the university. Dr. Jensick, please accept this award on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the university in recognition of your service and work. Thank you.
Dr. Gupchuck, would you continue on with the Faculty Collaboration Award presentation?
Thank you, Dr. Hightower. I would like now to introduce Dr. Marcus Augustin, President of the SIUE Faculty Senate, and Dr. Yu-Ting Lee, President of the SIUC Faculty Senate, to kindly introduce and present the SIU System Faculty Collaboration Awards.
Good morning. The Faculty Advisory Committee for the SIU System, or FACSS, serves as a collaborative channel between the faculty at SIUC, SIUE, the SIU School of Dental Medicine, and the SIU School of Medicine. The committee is made of the current constituencies head from all campuses and the immediate past presidents or chairs of those constituencies. The role of the FACSS is to advise on and monitor elements of the SIU system strategic plan that have to do with faculty. FACSS is very proud to present this year's SIU System Faculty Collaboration Award. This award recognizes faculty for their impactful collaborative endeavors across campuses in the area of teaching and or scholarship and creative activity and or service and or anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion. This award has been created to foster continued collaborations among faculty members across SIU system campuses in support of the SIU system vision and mission.
This year, we received 19 outstanding and varied applications for this year's award, ranging from various collaborations in nursing, genetic research, to collaborations on the eclipse, health, wellness, and areas of education. It wasn't an easy choice, and in fact, this year's FACSS scores and deliberation ended in 2 collaboration teams winning. Let's show some short videos on this year's award winners, please.
SIU Carbondale Associate Professor Modashim Shamsi and SIU Edwardsville Associate Professor Meena Sumita are teaming up to design new technology that will detect genetic biomarkers. Biomarkers are indicators that are measured in your blood, tissues, and body fluids. Biomarker tests can identify genetic changes you may have that increase your risk of cancer or other diseases.
Our work is towards a development of the biosensors, and we are particularly targeting for a neurogenetic disease.
We hope that we will be able to develop a technology as simple as glucometer for genetic biomarkers, because genetic biomarkers are complex due to the possibility of infinite number of mutations.
With limited resources, Shamsi and Sumita have gotten creative and crafty with their collaborative work.
We use desktop printers such as Xerox printer and inkjet printer to fabricate sensors on flexible plastic substrates. We can literally print thousands of sensors within an hour. We are developing a low-cost technology which will be accessible to millions of people across the globe who don't have access to centralized labs for diagnostics.
Hopefully it's going to be easier and more efficient. Then the genetic disease is going to be, I hope it's going to be one step closer to cure, hopefully.
The outstanding work Sumita and Shamsi are doing is being recognized as they are the winners of the 2024 SIU System Faculty Collaboration Award.
I'm so glad our research work is recognized not only by each campus, but overall the SIU systems. So it was really cool.
All the great scientific works are the result of strong collaboration.
The Illinois Tutoring Initiative was first brought to SIU-C, Carbondale, and SIU-E, Edwardsville as a joint project. Natasha Flowers, Dr. Flowers from SIU Edwardsville, and I began to work together, and this was meant to help support students that were still struggling after the pandemic and school being in and out, in person and at a distance. This was meant to target reading and math instruction for students in 3rd through 8th grade.
The Illinois Tutoring Initiative is our state's response to existing equity gaps. During the pandemic, these equity gaps were exacerbated and clearly exposed to everyone. And we are just excited to be a part of a partnership that focuses on students' well-being and academic success.
The tutoring I've been doing is really fun and educational, and I think it's a great program for me and a lot of other students to learn.
It has been shown that they've had a statistically significant increase in their reading and math based on their experiences with the Illinois Tutoring Initiative. So it has made a positive influence in their classroom experiences and has translated into higher achievement scores.
I think that the teachers taught me more because I used to not understand math, but now I do.
That made me get a better student. Summer school really helped me to get to 4th grade.
Anytime a decision had to be made, it all came down to what's in the best interest of the children and what will serve them best. And that drives the work that we do.
This award says to me that our university cares about collective responsibility, cares about authentic partnerships. Being recognized for the collaborative aspect of this work means to me that I am part of a legacy of doing the right thing with the right people at the right time. It has been rewarding and absolutely satisfying.
For me, getting to come up here and just see all of the wonderful work and the excitement of the children is the reward, but to see the collaboration is a beautiful thing as well.
We're proud to have all of our award winners here with us today. So let me introduce some of them. Dr. Meena Sumita, Associate Professor in the Department of Chemistry at SIUE, and Dr. Motashim Shamsi, Associate Professor in the School of Chemical and Biomolecular Sciences at SIUC for their collaborative work on genetic biomarkers. Our other winners are Dr. Natasha Flowers, Assistant Dean and Associate Professor in the School of Education, Health and Human Behavior at SIUE, and Dr. Christy McIntyre, Director of the School of Education at SIUC for their collaborative work on the Illinois Tutoring Initiative. As Dr. Lee and I respectively read a brief overview of their works, please make your way to the front to receive your award and to have your photo taken. Dr. Sumita's and Shamsi's collaboration focuses on research and creative activities in the area of advanced biosensing platform. They are designing new biomolecular probes to detect genetic biomarkers. Their work will eventually transform the current technology to detect an array of genetic and non-genetic biomarkers. Their research aligns with the SIU system's commitment to developing cutting-edge research and was accepted in the well-reputed peer-reviewed publication in the Royal Society of Chemistry Journal. It was also accepted for a poster presentation in the American Chemical Society regional meeting held just this past fall, 2023 in St. Louis. They are committed to continuing their work and developing the biosensing platform into a valuable tool in biomedical research, clinical diagnostics, and environmental monitoring, with implications spanning personalized medicine to biosafety surveillance.
Our other winners, Dr. Flowers and Dr. McIntyre, have collaborated for the past 3 years on the Illinois Tutoring Initiative project. The initiative came about during COVID-19 and through the relief funds that help support and target K-12 students who are in districts and communities with limited capacities or resources to deliver high-quality tutoring programs. Their collaborative work has brought numerous hours of high-impact tutoring to hundreds of students in the state that spans across 6 regions and 7 institutional partners. Data from its first 4 years implementation showed positive results, with 80% of students tutored progressing as expected or better in reading, and 90% of tutored students progressing as expected in mathematics. Their collaborative work has provided students with confidence and reduced the disparity gap. The impact on students, teachers, the community is astronomical. Congratulations to both teams of successful collaboration and all the best in their future work. Before closing, both Dr. Marcus Augustine and I, Eugene Lee, wish to express our appreciation to all our FACSS members for their time, commitment, expertise, and hard work in this selection process in the past year. We also would like to thank SIU Board of Trustees members, President Dan Mahoney and Vice President Gorish Gobrich, and their supporting staff member, Ms. Paula Keith and Ms. Penny Moon, for their support and concerted efforts. Together, we are stronger as the SIU system. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Dr. Hightower. I do want to thank the faculty leaders for their work on this. This is something we established just in the last few years to recognize work like we did today, but we couldn't do it without their collaboration and their leadership. So thank you to both of you for being here, but also for all the work that you all did. Congratulations to all of our award winners. It's just a great opportunity to recognize not only the innovation and inventions that we are producing here at SIU, so congratulations on that, but the collaboration across the system. I think that the interesting thing this year is you see collaboration can take place in multiple different ways. It can be related to research. It can be related to having an impact on our community and students in those communities. And so these are really 2 great representations of the good work that's being done. And as our faculty leaders acknowledged, there was a lot of good choices to make, and it was so difficult that we ended up giving out 2 awards, which I think is pretty good. So congratulations to everybody, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
would you like to make comments?
Yes, I'd like to just say thank you for joining us for breakfast, and I wish I had seen this before breakfast because I would love the opportunity to interact more with you, but thank you for your efforts, and it's great to see our system kind of come together because we can do more together than we can do.
Yeah, I would like to make a comment. I'm involved with SIU for 40 years, but I'm very, very pleased to see this collaboration between two campuses for the last 4 or 5 years. Keep it going. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, comments from you?
I was going to say that this wouldn't have happened a few years ago. Not at all, because when I first came on the board back in 2015 or 16, Carbondale and Edwardsville weren't even talking to each other. And now look what has happened. And the result has just been just unbelievable. So thank you, Carbondale, Edwardsville, for collaborating. And this is just the beginning of more and more collaborations down the road. So thank you very much.
Thanks again to all of our recipients. We appreciate the outstanding work that you're doing. And we certainly appreciate the leadership of Dr. Mahoney, President Mahoney, along with our two chancellors, and establishing a culture of collaboration that's eventually moving the entire system in the direction that we had hoped for and we're seeing. So thank you for your outstanding work. Moving on, Dr. Gupchak, would you take 5 and 6, please?
Thank you, Dr. Hightower. Yeah, and congratulations to everyone. I add my congratulations. But the next item is the information report of the program quality assurance. The Illinois Board of Higher Education requires all approved units of instruction, public service, and research offered by public universities to be evaluated on a periodic basis. In addition to external accreditation reviews, all SIU system non-accredited programs go through program reviews every 8 years. Program review is an internal process to ensure that we provide high-quality programs and identify any corrective actions necessary. The program quality assurance report in the Board of Trustees packet includes the following for your review. Lists of programs that are accredited by outside agencies along with their status, the results of non-accredited program reviews, and the identification of programs flagged for various issues. The schedule of reviews for all programs, whether they are not accredited or accredited through the academic year 2032. Are there any questions?
No. No.
If none, item number 6 is the grant and awards and contracts for fiscal year 2024. Our chief research officers today on each campus will present executive summaries of research grants and contracts received in fiscal year 2024. Also, they will mention some notable research and creative activities. Each research officer will then present a short video to highlight research or creative activities on their campus. We will start with Dr. Elizabeth Cali at SIUE, followed by Dr. Kostas Tsatsoulis at SIUC, and then Dr. Don Torrey of the School of Medicine. Dr. Cali?
Morning. I'm Liz Cali. I'm the Interim Associate Dean for Research and Graduate Studies at SIUE. Very happy to be here with you today, and especially to present to you our executive summary from fiscal years 24 sponsored projects. We're really pleased to present that we have 199 active awards in fiscal year 24 for $39 million in expenditures. For comparison's sake, in fiscal year 23, we had $32 million in expenditures, which was on par with pre-pandemic numbers. So I think that, to put this another way, what we're seeing here is a rising and active, robust grant activity across SIUE's campus, and I'm pleased to report that. In your highlights, in your executive summary, and your academic matters, you'll have a number of grants that we're really pleased to present to you, and I wanted to highlight 2 newly awarded NIH grants in particular. And one crucial award that I want to draw your attention to today is a $1.3 million award to Professor of Environmental Science, Dr. Sharon Locke, The grant project creates opportunities for underrepresented high school students to increase their social capital by participating in programming that provides them pathways to healthcare professions. And I want to point out that we're really proud of the work that we're doing in this area. As this represents our commitment to the system's mission, our strategic plan in supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and support at SIUE, but also beyond our institutional borders, right? This goes into our communities, and that's really significant and important to us. I also want to direct your attention to the $137,000 IBHE grant awarded to Dr. Ronnie Da, our Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. This project directly expands students' access to mental health care resources. It's part of the Mental Health Early Action on Campuses Act. And in particular, this has created an opportunity to create 24-hour virtual mental health care access, not only to clinical appointments, counseling appointments, but also to resources for extended student wellness and intervention opportunities. That service called Timely Care has rapidly become a fixture at SIUE. And as a faculty member, I want to attest to you the amount of appreciation students have already mentioned for having access to a form of mental health care that suits their lifestyles, but also their comfort levels, their ability to engage in actually accessing that care. And then please also, I think this goes along with what we've just been celebrating here today about collaboration. Please review our joint summary of collaborative research projects that you have in your academic matters. Between those are collaborations of awards and proposals between Edwardsville, Carbondale, and the School of Medicine faculty and staff. In fiscal year 24, SIU system campuses collaborated on 20 proposals and awards. This year's report, and I'm already looking forward to next year's report, this year's report marks 3 consecutive years of cross-campus research collaboration on more than 15 projects a year. I am sure we'll be celebrating 3 years of 20 or more next year, right? So I'm very excited about this. And then finally, I'd like to turn your attention to our research highlight video that we've prepared for you. Allow me to introduce the video by asking you to first envision your commute here today to Alton. Just imagine it for a moment. How many of you spent time thinking about your traffic lights? I'm willing to guess that not many of you thought about them, and that's likely because they were working. If there's one among us who did think about the traffic lights you encountered along the way to work today, my guess is that they had failed, deteriorated, or caused some other problem for you. Failed traffic infrastructure presents serious safety risks, unanticipated and disruptive costs to our region, to our tax dollars, to our budgets, our local budgets, and they create ongoing infrastructure concerns. Presently, the approaches that we have available to us to address those issues are reactive. And likely most of us are unfamiliar with how, when, and under what circumstances the conditions of traffic signals would deteriorate. But that infrastructure, traffic safety, and our budgets in our local communities depend on investing in that knowledge. And this research video spotlights civil engineering professor Dr. Ryan Fries, who is here with us today. I'm happy to celebrate his work. His grant project, which was funded by the Illinois Center for Transportation. Dr. Fries's research finds a solution to these concerns and presents a direct method for proactively predicting and addressing traffic signal deterioration. If you could please start the video.
The goal of the project was to create a system for assessing a traffic signal. So we had 3 main tasks. 1, to develop procedures for how to assess all the different parts of a traffic signal.
A traffic signal is divided into different components, like the physical components, the cabinet components, and the electrical components.
The second task was to develop condition levels to identify what is fair or good or poor conditions so that agencies can be consistent.
A lot of our maintenance is reactive, and we want to reduce that to be more proactive, and that's what this project is about.
And then last, we developed recommendations for how to implement this into practice. During this study, we used a combination of literature review.
I mostly worked on reading all the documents that we have, like the common practices we have from different Department of Transportations. So that helped us to develop our own process.
And expert opinion to gather the information we needed.
To get the really good information that we're searching for, you need to go talk to the people, the boots on the ground that interact with these components every single day for years on end.
The assessment starts from the ground up, so first we're going to look at the bases, the poles, making sure everything is plumb and not corroded too terribly.
And you collect all this through the years, and eventually you'll get a nice database of all the equipment out in the district.
This project is mainly important to public agencies that own or operate traffic signals. Some agencies manage many and are very familiar. Some small cities and towns may only have one traffic signal and don't have the experience or background to manage that effectively. And the goal of the project is to provide that consistent evaluation format for all transportation agencies.
We have 450 traffic signals or so in our district, and it's hard to keep track of all that. If you do keep track of it, you know where you're at. You can go to your bosses and say, we're going to be running out of the lifespan of this particular part within the next 5 years. We really need to begin to replace it. The bottom line is for safety, so that our traffic signals, break down less.
It's important to note there's about 330,000 traffic signals in the U.S., so it's likely most travelers experience one or more signals every day. Improving the assessment of those signals can help them perform better, fail less regularly, and hopefully provide a better traveling experience.
Happy to take any questions.
I have one question. Would you talk a little bit more about the collaboration between SIUE and SIU Carbondale in grant writing, please?
I'd be happy to.
Yes.
Well, I could go in a number of directions, but I'll tell you right now, our office in the graduate school, our office in grants and contracts is working closely with Carbondale to support collaborative efforts. We run obviously the SIU System Collaborative Grant Project, but we've also just initiated a pilot relationship with a research consultancy group that will specifically prioritize supporting faculty who are interested in writing and submitting federal externally funded grants across campuses. So in particular, we're really trying to support that collaboration between SIUE and the Carbondale campus. Each of our campuses has now, actually also the School of Medicine, have now entered into a contract with Hanover Research so that we can encourage faculty and provide them the support they need to collaborate across our campuses. We recognize that there can be challenges when faculty are looking to submit external funding and work collaboratively, and we're seeking ways to support that.
But do you get together and determine a focus, a project that you want to work collaboratively on? Does it just happen by happenstance?
It probably doesn't happen by osmosis, but it does. I think that what does happen is it goes two ways. So one of the directions is that this is faculty driven, right? Which is that faculty are excited about their research, they're passionate about a project, and we assist them with identifying faculty across campuses whom they can collaborate with if they are not already familiar. The other direction is that both of our offices, I think in Carbondale, and really all three, also I would say the School of Medicine and SIUE, when we see opportunities come through, whether it's from the NIH or NSF or NEH, that we think could be really great opportunities for collaboration, we share those opportunities with our faculty and with our offices across campuses. So it kind of goes both directions.
For example, and if this, I said one question, I apologize. Mental health is a major crisis facing this country. It's a major crisis across our university campuses. Would it be reasonable, feasible, and would it be strongly recommended that we look at collaboration in writing some type of a major federal state grant to address mental health across the campuses?
I think it would be imperative. I think that's the only answer. I think that we have to think collaboratively as a community across our campuses on how best to address mental health issues. And one of the best ways to get there is through collaborative grant writing.
Yeah, I just kind of
Yeah.
threw that out there.
Absolutely. Thanks for that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Dr. Gupchuk?
So I also wanted to mention, related to your question, we do have the Behavioral Health Workforce Center at the School of Medicine. And one of the grants that Dr. Callie mentioned that Dr. DA got, that is actually coordinated through IBHE and the Behavioral Health Workforce. They have a technical assistance center, is that what's called? And they actually help collaboration of all public universities across the state. And so it's jointly run by the School of Medicine and UIC. And so they're actually working to do joint mental health research and clinical services. And I'm now speaking where Dean Cruz should really be speaking. So.
You said it well.
Okay, thank you.
We have the lead at UIC.
There you go, yeah.
Excellent, very good. Good, good.
Okay, please, Dr. Satsoulis.
Thank you.
Good morning. As my esteemed colleague said, there's a lot of work between SIU Carbondale and SIU Edwardsville, and I wanted to mention something else because we always focus on faculty and administrators. Our staff in the two offices that support research, we realized that SIU Edwardsville has developed a software tool that allows PIs to see in real time how much money they've been spending. We don't have that. So now we're working with them. You know, the best form of flattery is copying somebody. So we're working now with them and our IT group to see if we can build the exact same thing. Our staff are talking together. So the collaborations happen on all levels of our universities. And this is what's also wonderful. And you obviously are aware also of the co-op PhDs we have between our two campuses. So, so small. The faculty and staff of SIU Carbondale last year, FY24, were very successful in receiving external research, training, service, and other grants for a total of $61.6 million. We submitted proposals for $188.2 million. In terms of expenditures, we had a record year. We expended $52.8 million. To put that in perspective, $52.8 million that went inside the Southern Illinois community. We are a major economic engine. Another perspective, in the last 4 years, since fiscal 21, our requested funds have grown by 90%. I'm a little bit upset. I like 100% better, but you know, we'll do better next year. Our awards have grown by 38% and our expenditures by 47%. So these are fantastic numbers, and they're all due to the excellent work that the faculty and the deans and the school directors do to push for research. I wanted to just mention 4 projects that show the diversity of the research that we do in SIU Carbondale. One is solar STEAM. It's a $2.6 million NASA grant in education. Education from the elementary school level all the way to high schools to get kids interested in science through what is called heliophysics, basically the physics of the sun. We tied that together with the eclipse. We also do a lot of work. We have a whole program in wildlife, from capturing snakes to this one, which has to do with doing population dynamics, survival rates, and so on, very specifically for wildlife management in gray fox populations, looking at how white-tailed deer transmit COVID. Also, there is a wasting disease with white-tailed deer. And the latest project had to do with raccoons. This is funded by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. To highlight our science and education, you may have heard the stories about PFAS. These are the chemicals that some companies have been now paying billions of dollars in compensation. These are the forever chemicals. They're in the water, they're in the land, they're in our food. We have received a large grant from the National Science Foundation to figure out how to remove PFAS from the environment. And the other project has to do with rare earths. Rare earths are things that are found in mines, and 90% of them are controlled by countries that are not very friendly to the United States. Rare earths are important for our missile defense, for our nighttime goggles, for batteries, for electric vehicles, radars, sonar systems, and so on. And right now, this country is really beholden to other nations for rare earths. We have two major projects funded by the Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement of the federal government to remove rare earths from coal waste. As you know, in Southern Illinois, we have a lot of old coal mines with a lot of waste. And if this works, not only will we be able to support a strategic, important direction for the United States, but also do a tremendous economic development in Southern Illinois by using a resource that has been not used for a long time. So these are four of the projects that I wanted to bring up to your attention, again, that show the diversity of the work. In terms of the video, I've come here before you and shown you research videos before. Not gonna do this time. In 2012, the members of this board approved a project to convert the McLafferty Annex from a library repository to a research building. So in these 12 years, we had the Fermentation Science Institute. You've seen a video about that. We've had the Fisheries, Aquatics and Aquaculture Center. You've seen a video of that. And a laser lab. So in 2022, Dr. Matt McCarroll and Dr. Gary Kinzel, together with the Executive Director of the Office of Innovation and Economic Development, Lynn Anderson Lindbergh, championed the creation of iFirm. It stands for Illinois Food, Entrepreneurship, Research, and Manufacturing Hub. It's a $7.2 million project that just came to a completion. It's called BioLaunch. It's a project funded by the state, the foundation, the university, and my office. I won't take credit for that. Well, I will. And contains the core facilities and resources to support businesses as leaders in value-added agriculture and biotechnology, accelerating opportunities and innovative solutions that spur economic development in the state. BioLaunch supports research, but more importantly, it supports innovation, education, and community engagement. As you will see in the video, we have very few faculty talking. We have leaders of companies, leaders of cities saying the impact this will have in the economic development of the region, which is what we're doing. This BioLaunch is primed to make a significant and lasting impact on Southern Illinois, unlocking the region's potential one innovation at a time. Could we see the video, please?
With generous support from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, the SIU Foundation, and Southern Illinois University, we are thrilled to announce BioLaunch. Nestled between the university farms and the main campus, BioLaunch is housed in the McLafferty Annex that is transforming to the Illinois Food, Entrepreneurship, Research, and Manufacturing Hub, known as iFirm. Announced by Governor Pritzker and the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity in October of 2021, BioLaunch is one of 8 organizations competitively chosen through the Rebuild Illinois-funded Wet Lab Capital Program. The Wet Lab Capital Program was launched by the governor in 2020 with a goal of providing innovative companies access to lab space so they can continue to grow and contribute to the state's 5-year economic growth plan. As an initiative of the Vice Chancellor for Research, the Research Park, and the Fermentation Science Institute, this $7.2 million project brings new scientific and technical facilities to support needs in the emerging areas of value-added agriculture, fermentation, and biomanufacturing. With a focus on providing unique opportunities at the intersection of university research and company product development, BioLaunch will spur job creation, workforce development, and business expansion in the region and throughout Illinois.
To make, for example, microbes from scratch to an industrial process. In this lab, we have next generation sequencing, bioprocess development capabilities. That's what the industry needs.
The biotechnology core will provide new capabilities in the region with full genomic analysis, genetic engineering capabilities, and bioreactors to support biomanufacturing and fermentation from creation at the benchtop to prototype production with our 100-liter bioreactor. With an emphasis on value-added agriculture, the facility will also expand SIU's capabilities for testing foods, beverages, and agricultural products. The biotechnology core already has engagement with regional businesses.
For GrowMix and Trilogy and Seed, we've been waiting. Like, honestly, we've been waiting for this facility. We've been working with Dr. Kinzel about what kind of sequencer we should bring here, what kind of instrument that we need, and what fortunately, SIU already acquired a sequencer, and there is a GCMS and mass spec, and there's all of these equipment here. We are just waiting for this to open so we can be the first client.
The analytical core offers access to a variety of testing and measurement tools and will support both faculty-driven research and regional business demands. Instrumentation housed within the facility includes the entire array of equipment associated with the SIU mass spectrometry facility, as well as a new state-of-the-art 500 megahertz nuclear magnetic resonance spectrometer and a suite of benchtop analytical instrumentation.
And having a resource like BioLaunch here that is available can bring lots of different services and technologies to support those individuals and companies at a very early stage is just very important.
The Business Annex provides flexible business space for existing and emerging businesses, as well as university spin-outs, support for student and faculty researchers, community organizations, and various training and educational programs in support of business development and growth in the region.
So with BioLaunch, it could be food, it could be related to energy, it could be related to something on the periphery of both of those. Life sciences is kind of at the heart of what BioLaunch is.
BioLaunch is expected to become a major driver in economic development in the region.
What we're excited about BioLaunch is that having access to world-class lab space like we have here at BioLaunch will make or break food-related businesses as well as those in the life sciences.
Top research university, nationally ranked programs, and now the iFirm Hub, BioLaunch, all of those great resources that then got those companies' attention. And Southern Illinois is now on their radar, and it's really put our region on the map as a great place to expand or relocate.
Activities now possible will spur and support entrepreneurial engagement with our campus and enable Southern Illinois to become an engine driving economic development while sustainably supporting our agricultural region. We stand ready to BioLaunch your next idea.
Thank you. Any questions?
That facility, and that's amazing, the work that you're doing there. And it's definitely leap into the future. Thank you for you and your staff and all the collaboration that goes along with it.
Thank you. As I said, this is a different facility. This is an outreach facility. It's an innovation facility. This is a facility that will bring in industry and will support our industry here. It's an economic development engine. And thank you for this board for having the vision 12 years ago. It only took 12 years, not so fast, not so bad for a university, that you allowed this to happen. And this is the result that you saw today. Thank you.
It will be faster now. Under your leadership. Under your leadership, it will be faster.
Thank you for the vote of confidence. We'll see.
Lori?
Thank you, Dr. Gupchak. I'm Don Torr, Associate Dean for Research at SIU School of Medicine on the Springfield campus. And I'm also happy to report that our faculty and staff have been very successful in extramural support in fiscal year 24. We have approximately 256 active projects, which is maintaining what we've been doing since COVID for sure. And that resulted in about $25.6 million in expenditures. And I think as Dr. Callie mentioned, that's money into the communities at the Springfield campus and elsewhere. Our research project I group them into about 3 different categories, and I just want to highlight a couple of those. Translational research projects is our biomedical bench research that we traditionally think about. Jacob Nordham, our assistant professor in physiology, was awarded an NIH grant from Child Health and Human Development to uncover how stress early in life may contribute to aggressive behavior, long-lasting aggressive behavior in adults later on. So begins to address the mental health issues that was brought up. Clinical trials is the application of research to the bedside, and a major goal of the School of Medicine in the past couple of years is try to increase and augment our offerings of clinical trials. This is being done in conjunction with our partnering hospitals, and in particular Memorial Hospital, to try to increase our offerings of these clinical trials. And aside from just the cutting edge research aspects of it, oftentimes these clinical trials may provide novel treatments for patients that may not have many options. So we're really impressed with our clinical trial portfolio. We wish to increase that as well. And one that I wish to highlight is Dr. Abdullah Al-Sarif, Associate Professor in Neurology, who's received funding for 3 separate phase 3 studies looking at a small molecule inhibitor that can act in the brain to prevent epilepsy-related seizures and different types of seizures in teenagers as well as adults, which is pretty novel. And then the third aspect of the School of Medicine, one of our mission statements is community service. And we have a number of community service projects, and one which I wish to highlight is Laura Kissel. She's our Executive Director of Telehealth Services. She received a grant from the U.S. Department of Agricultural Rural Utilities Service for refining and further developing distance learning in telehealth and health education to our rural patients in central and southern Illinois, patient groups that's a bit hard to connect with to get them the care that they need and desire. So we're proud of Laura's grant for there. The video that we have for you goes a little off from what we traditionally do. As Dr. Sartulius mentioned, we usually highlight a researcher. This is a program that I'm going to highlight that we developed for our medical students. This is our Research Scholars Program. It started about 2 years ago. Dr. Cruz helped with getting this established. It offers a pathway of distinction for our medical students that are involved in research. And since the inception of the medical school, medical students have always participated in research. This just provides a recognition pathway for them. And this has become more important recently because a major exam that pretty much governs where you can go for your residency after you graduate has gone to pass-fail. So now our students wanted mechanisms or ways to stand out when they apply for their residency programs. so they can get to the programs that they wish to get to. So this is one pathway that we felt is important for them to be able to gain that recognition. There are certain criteria involved to finish and complete the pathway, and Dr. Broadmeyer Fleming will talk more about that. And on the video, we'll have two of our recent graduates that have gone through this program that can talk more about how they felt it helped them for the next level. So if we could have the video, please.
Was formulated by a group of students, senior students and 4 students. And they wanted a structured path for how to accomplish research metrics during their undergraduate medical training. So how to get publications, how to do presentations. And the students reached out to faculty involved in research, mainly Dr. Tishkow, Dr. Torrey, who is our Associate Dean for Research, and then active researchers, basic scientists like myself and Dr. Sundareshan, and asked us to put together a structure for students to be able to complete to become research scholars during their medical training.
I think what the Research Scholars Program offers is both a bit of recognition, I think, for students that are interested in research, the ability to kind of bring to the forefront the amazing things that I think students at SIU are doing, as well as, I think, opportunity, especially this 4th year, to have individually designed electives specifically in a research format. I did research here with Dr. Andrew Wilbur and Dr. Don Torrey in the immunology department, and I got to work with natural killer cells for a little over 12 weeks during the fall of this past year. And to have that dedicated time period, especially during medical school, that's something really where you need to either do a master's or a PhD. So to have the Research Scholars Program to allow me to take that time between clinical activities, I thought was just a huge benefit.
The benefit to any medical student participating in research is that it's application of your basic science. We are trying to teach students how to be physician scientists in their critical thinking and application of their knowledge. Whether that is applying it to a patient or whether that's applying it to solving a research question, that critical thinking is imperative.
The variety of research that the students get involved in, they are able to definitely add value to the work we are doing and forward the mission of our institution. Research is also one of the pillars of our mission, so it definitely is beneficial for our school and institution.
I absolutely think that Research Scholars Pathway helped to make me a more attractive candidate for residency. It was brought up in probably all of my interviews, if I remember right. Everyone was very interested in what this Research Scholars Pathway was, asked a lot of questions about it, and really gave me a chance to kind of jump off of that and talk more about my research itself. Going into the medical field, our knowledge is expanding so quickly that I think it's really important to try to contribute to that expanding knowledge, as well as be able to really understand as that growth occurs. Being able to read the literature and understand what they're saying, and really just stay on top of everything as it comes out. So I think doing research has helped me to do that.
Outstanding report from each of you, and we certainly appreciate your dedication and commitment to moving the entire system forward. So thank you so much. I want to direct something to Dr. Kopchak. We really appreciate the efforts that both, first of all, President Mahoney is leading the entire system, and you being the go-between and making sure everything come together properly. With the amount of federal federal and state money available. And again, this is not a criticism of what we're doing, but this is something that I really, truly believe that and I'm going to just speak for myself, that we should really take advantage of. With the amount of money available, funding available for various innovative initiatives, I'm going to personally challenge you to see if we could look at one or two initiatives that would benefit the entire system and put together a collaborative grant, as we have talked about collaboration so much this morning. That has been the theme during this session of coming up with a couple of initiatives. With the federal funding available, we can really place the SIU system more in the forefront of innovation, improvement, and being that pace setter for the university. So that's a challenge to you. I don't want to be specific, but leaving it in a broad context for you to come up with a couple of initiatives, working with the 3 campuses and say, hey, let's focus on something whereby we can collaborate, come up with some funding mechanism that will match what will benefit the entire system. That's something for you to think about.
Sure, thank you. And challenge accepted. The research officers meet every two months. So we'll we already have several collaborative research grants, but involving the entire system. So we will come back and report to you. So I can see Dr. Tsatsoulis there, so I'm looking at him. So yeah. So, but we'll work on that.
Sure, thank you. Other questions or comments from the Committee of Academic Affairs?
No comments, but very impressive, very impressive, the research output of the whole system. Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes the Academic Matters Committee's meeting this morning.
Okay, thank you, Chair Hightower. The next committee meeting is the Audit Committee meeting. Trustee Curtis, will you proceed?
Meeting of the Audit Committee is now in session. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the meeting held September 21, 23. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Curtis,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Souter.
Yes.
Items 2 and 3, proposed revisions to the Board of Trustee policy on internal audit and revisions to the Audit Committee charter. Director Labonte is here, and will you please present these items?
Good morning. There are 2 charter documents that relate to the SIU internal audit function, the internal audit charter, which is contained within board policy, and then the Audit Committee charter, which is maintained on file with the Executive Secretary of the Board. The internal audit charter is reviewed annually by my office, and updates are approved annually by the Audit Committee as needed when we need to reflect changes to the current internal auditing standards. And the Audit Committee charter was enacted in 2008, and it has not had any subsequent changes. Revisions to both of these charters are necessary at this time to comply with the recently adopted 2024 Global Internal Audit Standards, which my office is required to comply with. These standards now require certain specific language be included within the charters to more clearly define the mandate and the purpose of SIU internal audit function, as well as the responsibilities of the Chief Internal Auditor, staff auditors, senior management, and the Audit Committee. To come into compliance, a revamping of the internal audit charter is necessary, along with certain additions to the Audit Committee charter. The proposed revisions to the charters align the language that's required now by the standards, and it's representative of actions that are currently already being performed by both my office as well as the audit committee. So really, it's a formality to align our charters with the current practices and standards, and therefore I propose that these recommended changes be approved.
Is there a motion to approve board agenda items K and L?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Madam Secretary, please perform the vote.
Curtis,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Salger.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Item 4 is a presentation of the FY '23 SIU system audits by Kim Lamonte, the Executive Director of Audit. Director Lamonte, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. This last agenda item is a presentation of the fiscal year 23 audits of the system that were conducted by Plant Moran as Special Assistant Auditors to the Illinois Office of the Auditor General. The financial and single audits were both released in March and both contained unmodified audit opinions. The compliance report was released in July and contained a modified audit opinion. Together, these reports contain 17 audit findings, with 2 of them being deemed material compliance, which is what led to that modified opinion. We also received a letter of immaterial findings, which contained 4 lesser significant matters. Links to these reports were shared with members of the audit committee at the time of their release, and these reports were also filed with the U.S. Department of Education as well as with the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. Rather than providing a lengthy discussion at this time regarding those findings, you've been provided with a summary in your packets today. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any specific questions with regard to any of the particular findings. While campus staff were successful in implementing corrective actions for 9 prior year findings, there do continue to be 12 repeat findings among the 17 current year findings. 4 of these repeat matters have persisted for more than 5 years. It should be noted, though, that substantial progress has been made on one of the oldest of these persistently repeated matters, which is that the campuses have been now successful in bargaining to require timekeeping measures by all faculty on our campuses. Additionally, there are 2 findings where corrective action is currently being reported as completed, which is demonstrating that we're making progress with respect to some of these repeated matters. That concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Director Labonte? Hearing none, thank you very much for your report today, and if there are no other business before the Audit Committee, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Curtis. The next meeting is a Finance Committee meeting. Trustee Tedrick.
Thank you. The Finance Committee meeting is now in session. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the meeting held July 11th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Hedrick,
Yes?
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Operating budget. President Mahoney, will you present?
Yeah, we presented this yesterday in great detail, so we won't go through all of that again. I just want to remind everybody the things I said yesterday. We certainly are in a better position than we were about 8 years ago, and certainly better than a lot of other institutions, but there's still fiscal challenges. This is our best attempt to do something that's fiscally responsible, move us forward in a number of different ways, but also make sure that we're in a good fiscal position. So I present the budget as presented yesterday.
Yeah, there's no doubt that progress is being made, and keep up the good work. Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Hedrick,
Yes?
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Item 3 proposes approval of salary increase plan for fiscal year 2025. Senior Vice President Stuckey, will you speak to this item?
Thank you. This matter proposes salary increase pools for non-represented employees for this year. SIUC and the system office are proposing a salary pool increase of 1% effective July 1, and the School of Medicine is proposing a salary increase pool of 3.5% for civil service employees only, effective October 1. We ask your approval.
Any discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Hedrick,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
And the item is approved. Committee item 4 is the Resource Allocation and Management Program RAMP, Operations and Capital Request for fiscal year 2026. Vice President Stuckey, this is a joint discussion with the Architecture and Design Committee. Vice President Stuckey, will you speak to this item?
Thank you. This is our annual ramp request required by IBHE to secure operating and capital funds. Table 1 shows the inflation factors that will be applied to this year's operating request to develop the request. These factors are compiled from a combination of national projections and staff experience. Table 1 also lists add-ons for which we have historically received funding over the years and new program support which we received last year. We are continuing these requests for these items. Table 2 shows our request for regular capital projects. 3 relatively small projects are listed first in the list of regular capital projects in Table 2, 1 for each campus, followed by 3 large projects, 1 for each campus. Table 2 also includes our list of requested capital renewal projects, which is compiled by our campus staffs. We seek your approval.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion for the Finance Committee and Architecture and Design Committee to approve this item?
So moved.
Second. Madam Secretary?
Start with Finance Committee, Tedrick,
Yes?
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Architecture and Design, Simmons,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes. The item is approved by both committees. Committee item 5 proposes changes in faculty administrative payroll. Dr. Stuckey, will you speak to this item?
Thank you. This matter seeks your approval to appoint Peggy Ittner as Director of Risk Management. When the previous director resigned over a year ago, I assumed the role of director. Subsequently, I appointed Peggy as Assistant Director. This unit financially manages our self-insurance program, which maintains a pool of about $42 million and maintains the 37 commercial insurance programs the university requires to cover its risks. Peggy has worked in the program for 10 years, has earned a certificate or certified risk manager designation, and is working on a certified insurance counselor designation. A search was conducted for the permanent director. The search committee unanimously recommended Peggy for this position. I seek your approval.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion for the Finance Committee to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Hedrick,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Items 6 and 7 are approvals of purchase for limestone and hauling of the limestone for the Carbondale campus. Director Owens, will you speak to this?
Yes, thank you. We're requesting approval for 2 contracts essential to continued operations at SIUC power plant and campus, the acquisition of limestone and limestone hauling services. To meet our needs, we propose this contract will ensure consistent pricing and supply for essential commodity of limestone. Limestone is critical to the power plant's flue gas desulfurization process, which helps remove sulfur dioxide and pollutants from the gas. This ensures that we meet our EPA permits and significantly reduces environmental impact, removing 90% of SO2 from emissions. In addition, purchasing of limestone, we need a reliable vendor to provide transportation for hauling of the limestone to the power plant. This contract follows the Illinois Procurement Code and SIU Board of Trustee policies. We've selected the lowest bidder that met all specifications. The contract will be funded through the Utilities Purchase Services account. Both contracts have been thoroughly reviewed and recommended for adoption by the Chancellor and Vice Chancellor of Administration and Finance. They will provide consistent pricing and services and meet the operational needs of the SIU power plant and campus. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Is there a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Hedrick,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
The items are approved. Committee item 8 is the approval of purchase for targeted recruitment, outreach, and retention of accelerated online programs and students. Chancellor Lane.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This matter would approve a contract with Rise Point LLC to grow online master's programs within the College of Business and Analytics and the College of Health and Human Sciences. The programs include the MBA, MS in Business Analytics, MS in Public Administration, MS in Accounting, and MS in Public Health. The estimated cost for the service contract over the 7-year period is $5 million and will be funded from 50% of the tuition and fees derived from the enrollment of new students. Rise Point LLC has worked with SIU personnel, faculty, and staff to develop, refine, and implement the managed programs over the past year so that they might be seamlessly integrated into SIU's offerings at no cost to SIU Carbondale. A lot of constituency involvement here, faculty, staff, leadership, all invited to participate in one or more discussions about the partnership possibility on March 8th, 2024. We want to submit this for your approval or for your request for your approval.
Thank you, Chancellor. Any discussion? Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Hedrick,
Yes?
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
9, 10, and 11 are approvals for the SIU School of Medicine. Dean Cruz.
Thank you. Do you want to do them all at the same time?
Let's
Okay.
do item 12 also.
Have to do that one separate.
It has to be
Yep.
separate, all right.
Separate. So we'll do 9, 10, 11
Do the
first.
three, yeah.
So the first one is T in your book. It seeks renewal of a lease for space occupied by our Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at St. John's Hospital, a 10-year lease for about 8,000 square feet for $2,165,000. Funds are from non-appropriated funds, as are everything that we seek for all 4 of these from the School of Medicine. The next 2 are real estate, and both of them are for purchase of properties that are part of the SIU School of Medicine footprint in, near, or adjacent to where we are now. The first one, purchase of 2 vacant houses which lie in the footprint. Request is for $90,000 for acquisition and demolition, non-appropriated funds. V is to seek approval for the purchase of 10 addresses adjacent to the School of Medicine campus for future expansion of the campus. These 10 addresses are about 2.7 acres, consist of a vacant commercial structure, ancillary building, residential structures, parking lots, and vacant land. The purchase price is $1.65 million. The demolition price, $580,000. So those are the first 3.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
So second.
Madam Secretary?
Hedrick,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Sharma.
Yes.
Thank you. Item 12, which is W in the book. Again, using non-appropriated funds. This seeks approval for the purchase of real estate at 720, 725 North Bond Street. It's a building currently occupied by our Department of Otolaryngology, Head and Neck Surgery, otherwise known as ENT, for all of their teaching clinics and academic space. It is, again, on the footprint. It consists of 2.3 acres that includes a 20,000 plus square foot building, adjacent parking lots, and a staff parking lot across the street. The purchase price for the properties is $8,112,000 plus a few closing costs. And it's very consistent with the appraisal that was obtained by the university.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Secretary?
Hedrick,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Abstain.
Sharma.
Yes.
And the item is approved.
Thank you.
Committee item 13 is an annual debt compliance report. Senior Vice President Stuckey.
This is Simply an information item for your reading at another time. I think what I would emphasize is our staff does a tremendous job of complying with all the requirements of all of our debts. And this is a record of all the checking and balances they have to do in each of our debts in order to make sure we are in compliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Any questions? Hearing none, there is no further business before the Finance Committee, and we are adjourned.
Thank you, Trustee Tedrick. I will now turn the meeting over to Trustee Simmons for the Architectural and Design Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The meeting of the Architect and Design Committee is now in session. First, I want to thank Trustee Curtis for stepping up and chairing the committee in July during my absence. And I also want to share with Dr. Cruz, if you'll pass along for me my gratitude for the situation that was occurring personally with my wife in July. And thank you to Trustee Curtis for all your help in that. That was a scary time for us, and it's all good now. So on with the committee. First item is the approval of the agenda minutes that we had on July 11th. There's a motion to approve?
So moved. For second?
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Simmons,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda. Management Program, RAMP, Operations and Capital Requests, fiscal year 2026. Board agenda item O, and we discussed jointly this morning and voted jointly this morning with the board's finance committee, and it has already been approved by both committees, so O is accepted. Next is an information presentation on future expansion plans for the SIU School of Automotive. Provost Tucker, if you could step to the podium and present on this item, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The School of Automotive, housed in the Glenn Pichard Transportation Education Center, or TEC, is widely considered the premier automotive technology program in the nation. The program is renowned for developing students into highly skilled and capable industry leaders by focusing on a thorough understanding of technology and hands-on, high-level diagnostics combined with industry-specific business and management knowledge. In its application, our students are prepared for wide-ranging careers. In the last few years, 90% of the students graduating from the automotive program did so already having secured a job. The School of Automotive moved into the Glenn Pichard Transportation Education Center in 2012. The TEC consists of 180,000 square feet and is considered a premier transportation center in the Midwest and among top facilities in the country. In addition to the space in the main building, it also comprises of nearly 32,000 gross square feet of fleet storage area. Although the Glenn Pichard Transportation Education Center remains state-of-the-art, the program is in need of additional space. The automotive program has grown from 202 students in its inaugural year in 2012 to 322 students in 2024, a 59% increase. We are seeking opportunities to facilitate further growth while contributing to the economic and workforce development into the Southern Illinois region. In cooperation and planning with the Southern Illinois Airport Authority, we are exploring to acquire the 15-acre adjacent tract of land for future development. Please see the map provided for the specific location. We aim to use this additional land to develop an automotive business incubator, a test track with autonomous Mach City and heavy-duty truck lab. We believe these efforts will enhance both the student and corporate partnerships with SIU. The SIU School of Automotive is driven to succeed and is fueled by excellence. Our automotive program is designed to provide an educational environment for students to acquire the professional, research, and technical skills for success in the automotive industry. We want to continue to be the best school of automotive in the country and create new opportunities for our students, faculty, and staff. We believe this acquisition of additional land in the future will keep us on a road to success. This is an informational report for planning purposes. As plans develop, we will bring those back to the board for approval. Dean Morgan and I are happy to address any questions.
Is that property currently for sale?
No,
Okay,
it is part of the airport authority.
got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Provost Tucker, committee items 4 and 5 are approvals at the SIU School of Medicine, and I'll ask Dean Cruz to present items of our committee for 4 and 5.
Sure, thank you. Items X and Y in the back of the book. The first one seeks approval and award of contracts by the Capital Development Board for our main medical school building that was built in 1971. This is for HVAC services. The total cost is $7.5 million. The successful prime contractor for the project is Henson Robinson Company in Springfield. The second one, Y, seeks approval of renovations for the Illinois Department of Public Health Laboratory and Office building, which is adjacent and, well, it's part of the School of Medicine building, as a matter of fact, 14,000 square feet. The cost of the project is estimated to be $14 million and will be funded by the IDPH through IGA, Intergovernmental Transfer Agreement. So those are the two.
Thank you. Are there any questions or discussions on these items from the committee? Hearing none. Is there a motion from the Architect and Design Committee to approve these items?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Will you roll call, please?
Simmons,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Items are approved by the committee. Is a project and budget approval for SIUE's National Corn to Ethanol Research Center. Dr. Etzlaff, will you speak to these items, or this item?
Thank you. We are concerned that the replacement parts we purchased approximately 2 years ago on eBay for $10,000 that are keeping the system running are getting ready to fail again. So failure of the air handling system in this facility is imminent. Therefore, we are seeking project and budget approval to install a new air handling system at the National Corn to Ethanol Research Center, or NSERC. As approved, this approximate $1.003 million project will be funded by SIU Facilities Management and NSERC funds. And we will install a handling system at this critical research center located in SIU's University Park. Chancellor Minor and I, personnel at NSERC that suffer the very warm temperatures, if it's not working, recommend approval of this item.
Thank you very much. Any discussion from the committee? Is there a motion from the Architect and Design Committee to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, will you roll call, please?
Simmons,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Motion has been approved by the committee. If there's no other business before the A&D Committee, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Trustee Simmons. We will take a 10-minute, let me get a 15-minute recess before we begin the full board meeting. Okay, welcome to the Illinois University Board of Trustees full board meeting. I will now call the meeting to order. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Connolly,
Present.
Curtis,
Present.
Ford,
Present.
Gilbert,
Present.
Hightower,
Present.
Salger,
Present.
Sharma,
Present.
Simmons,
Here.
Tedrick,
Present.
We have a quorum is established. The next item of business is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of the board held July 10th and 11th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis, Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
Minutes are approved. The next is the trustees report. And we're going to, there are no trustee reports. I report the executive committee has not met between board meetings. The next, at any regular board meeting, 30 minutes will be reserved to receive comments or questions from members of the public and employees of the university. Speakers' comments or questions should not exceed 5 minutes. Persons wishing to speak shall contact the executive secretary of the board. The executive secretary of the board shall maintain a roster of those seeking to speak and shall call them in order. Madam Secretary, do we have any speakers today? Okay, our next item of business is the executive officer's report. We're going to do this kind of a reverse order because Chancellor Lane has to catch a plane this afternoon. So Chancellor Lane, will you present your report for the Carbondale campus?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, oh, those microphones are messing with Dr. Minor down there. Great job. It's very clear. I am pleased to give our report for Southern Illinois University Carbondale. So if we could get that going, I'll fast forward this report. You know, a lot of exciting times that are happening on campus. We've got a lot of students, as you can imagine, that are there with us, and want to show you a little bit of video to kind of open up the presentation. All right, salute you nation. We're on our way, getting ready to pick you up first class day. Let's go get it. Go dogs. Y'all ready, huh? Let's do it. I tell you what, if you look at this shot, and if we showed you this shot a couple of years ago, that picture would be a lot smaller. We'd probably be closer to the 40-yard line and instead of, well, actually about the 35. I don't know what that is, but it wouldn't be that big. And we've got a lot of freshmen that are here on our campus. So as you can see, our numbers there have increased. A lot of hard work by our staff to really reach out, not only in our region, across the state and across state lines. So we're celebrating, as you can imagine. Let me give you just some quick highlights of what we did. It's the highest enrollment jump in 33 years for us. It's a 3.79% increase. That's adding 431 more students. And so that is extremely significant. Again, a lot of hard work from everybody on our campus, our faculty, our staff, our students. Just yesterday, we had actually it was Tuesday, we had a breakfast with our superintendents and principals and counselors in the region. So I always say you're only as good as your last 10th class day. We'll celebrate for a short time here and then move on to fall 2025. So already having those leaders on our campus, it just helps us start off to hopefully increase again for next year. Our enrollment increased 2 years in a row for the first time since 2000. Our freshman class increased 8.45% since 2023 and 69.5% since 2019. Our graduate program enrollment, I got to thank Dr. Costas Satsoulis and folks in his office. We set out to do this about 3 years ago. We hired Dr. Satsoulis. We said, that's the charge, right? We need to increase our graduate student enrollment. We've done that. So again, a lot of work all the way around. Our new transfer student numbers, that increased 2%. And we're really excited about that. It's something we focused on. We wanted to partner with all 48 community colleges in our state. We knew that if we were going to have some growth, it needed to come from those particular community colleges. So that seems to be working quite well. Our Saluki Step Ahead enrollment increased 111%. And for us, that's a dynamic program. We were fortunate with Trustee Sharma the other day and with Dr. Mahoney to present the Saluki Step Ahead program with the IBHE as we hosted them on our campus. So I'm really excited about what's happening in that space. It's not just about the head count. We look at our contact hour production and our credit hours in terms of what our students are taking. We're pushing the 15 to finish. 12 hours is not full time for us. We think it's 15 for you to finish in 4 years. And so a lot of our students are taking part in that, and we're excited about that. Our Hispanic students increased by 12%. Our white students increased by 1.4% in our region. We noticed that we were losing Caucasian students. So our Southern Illinois Takeover Tour, and we really targeted the demographics there to try and increase those numbers. And we've been able to do that. We've got a lot more work in store there. So we're excited about that. I know Dr. Caldwell will like to see this. We retained 2.7%. So this is from our diverse student body. Let me just kind of give you an idea here. Our African-American students, that retention number increased by 5%. Our female students increased by 7.3%. Our first generation African-American students increased by 5.8%. So a lot of work that's going on, not just in recruiting those students to SIU Carbondale, but actually retaining those students. If you look at our student body, very, very diverse student body. So some of those numbers, I've probably flipped them. It's more about the diversity increases that we had there in that respect. So these are the numbers, as I just mentioned, for fall 2024. If you look at our graduate numbers, this gives you a better idea about those percentages. Again, graduate, undergraduate, online. The online is something we're really pushing, and thanks to the board today, I know you just approved one of our items, but we're aggressively targeting those non-traditional students, those place-bound students that are unable to come to Carbondale. That work will continue on as we go forward. This slide is very big for us. It's new students from Southern Illinois. So we talk about red carpeting the region and making sure that we keep our students at home. We're noticing that they're doing just that. Students have no reason to leave the region with an institution like ours in their backyard. And so we've been really marketing, Jeff's help and his staff marketing the value of really staying at home. Our Saluki commitment is really helping with that. We push that up to 103,000 and below. So students in that range are coming to SIU Carbondale with their tuition fees covered. That program is going quite well. So really excited about the work that's happening there. And the folks in our region are excited about that. I think I was talking with Trustee Tedrick. We're not hearing any more about, hey, you didn't recruit my son or daughter. You know, they didn't get anything from you guys. We're not hearing that anymore. What we're hearing is, hey, how do we make sure we get in, right? So that whole piece we've tried to change. We set out 3 years ago, 4 years ago to do that. And it seems to be working. We will celebrate, before I get to this slide, we will celebrate in October. I think it's the first or second week of October. We'll have a campus-wide celebration to really acknowledge all of the folks who helped us hit that enrollment mark of 3.79%. And really have a good time doing that, but get right back to business. So we've already got our visits set up in our high schools, our community colleges. We're doing a lot of work in that space to try and grow even more. Our goal was 15,000 students by 2030. We're on pace to do that, but we've got a lot of work to make sure we stay on track to do that. But for that to push in that direction would be very promising for our institution. Our investment, as we continue to highlight our faculty and staff, our investment in our people is critical. We just closed a deal with our CBA, our collective bargaining unit, with the Faculty Association that's going to bring them some much needed raises. So very excited about that. Working with Jeff Punske, our Faculty Association president, he does a great job. Hearing from Dr. Lee, our Faculty Senate president, in terms of what the faculty are needing to be able to retain those faculty has been very critical, listening to him. To give you an idea about what that actually looks like in that agreement, for our tenure track faculty, total estimated cost of the contract is $5.7 million. For non-tenure, it's about $2.8 million. We also signed an agreement with our graduate assistant group as well. They're very critical to the success of what we're trying to accomplish. And so these are just some numbers about the CBAs that have been ratified and how it supports or has us investing in our faculty and our graduate assistants. So we're very proud about that. I think our faculty are excited about that. That's a 4-year contract there. So we're excited about being able to do that. For our civil service staff, we've been working on this for a while, not just the last year, but between 2023 and 2025, we've been able to adjust our non-represented classified employees. We didn't have any mandates to do this. This group is not represented, but yet we still sit down at the table with them and we talk about where we would like for them to be. And so these just give you some real raw numbers about the classifications that we've adjusted, the estimated total increase to their pay. If you look at fiscal year 23, it's $22,000 for the 67 or some odd employees. In fiscal year 24, 88 employees benefited from about $373,000 that we were able to adjust their salaries with. And then in fiscal year 2025, $152,000 impacting 98 employees. What we decided is instead of them submitting a lot of job audits, we just looked at the data and we started to work through who we needed to adjust to save our employees some time with even doing that. We have CBIZ that's working with us now. It's a consulting group that's looking at our salary compression. It's taking a hard look at where we have some egregious cases of folks who may have been here 20 years, making less than someone who just walked in the door 2 weeks ago, to really adjust those cases to go along with our theme of equity, and that piece is working quite well. So we'll continue on that piece with CBIZ and make sure that we address those things. I mentioned this earlier. Again, this was something that was very special for us to be able to highlight at the last meeting. That's just a shot of Trustee Sharma as a board member there, and then also all of the folks who serve on the board of IVHE to really give them a good snapshot of what Saluki Step Ahead is. And just give you a very quick run through of what it is. It's a partnership that we have with the Illinois Community College Board, 48 community colleges, where we've got signed agreements where we actually work with those students as soon as they get admitted to the community college. So we said it's too late if they're transferring to us in their junior year. We want to connect with them in their freshman year at those community colleges and make sure that their credits are come over and that they're applied towards the degree and not just a transcript. I think the average number of hours a student was transferring with to our institution roughly, and this is probably national, is close to 70, 80 hours. That's far too many hours to transfer with. And then they were finishing with us with about 150 some odd hours. It takes 120, so that's not good either. So a lot of work there in this program, thanks to the provost and the deans and others who've made those pathways much more seamless. Diversity, we just finished up with our diversity week. If you have been on our campus in the first couple of weeks of classes, you will notice the diversity just walking around. I mean, I walk out and go to Starbucks or just walk around the campus to say hi to students. And it's just amazing to see how many students we have from all walks of life. I mean, it is alive and well at SIU Carbondale, and it's something that we're celebrating. Obviously, we've been celebrating Diversity Week. We're now moving into our Hispanic, Latinx, or Hispanic Heritage Month. It starts September 15th. So we're excited to be celebrating that as well with a lot of different activities that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. We have to thank John and Jane Simmons. This is a beautiful thing for our campus. Again, we couldn't do any of the things that we're doing without them. We had a great celebration. It was about 100 degrees that day, but I think we made it out there. We're probably sweating in those suits. But our students are excited over at the law school. Our faculty and staff are excited over there. So what an incredible gift. And again, Trustee Simmons, thanks to you and your wife and your family. And hopefully you guys feel like we did that event well for you. But it was still being talked about on our campus, but something that we're very, very proud of. This is the big boy that's coming. As you enter in the campus, this is going to be the Tedrick Welcome Center. And sorry, Trustee Tedrick, I don't have the Matt Kupek voice, but I you know. Ah, yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, go Dogs. That's it. You got it. That's good. This, I hope Matt is watching that. This is just going to be, look at this thing. It's just an incredible building. For us, this will be our new front door. It is critically important as we have these increases in enrollment that when we get our students on campus, they already think it's beautiful outside of the building. When they get inside of this building, though, this is going to be our attempt to really indoctrinate them or connect them to what it means to be a Saluki. We're going to have all of the history in here. We're going to have our current students, our alums, donors, other folks just learning about what's happening at SIU Carbondale, and really almost like you'd see in some Power 4 or Power 5, Power 4 now, athletic facility where they bring in student athletes and try and wow them to get them to sign. That's exactly what we're going to do, and that's going to be with non-student athletes, right? So it's going to be our attempt to bring them in a facility like this, and really wow them, right? So they can sign. After they leave this building, they go into student services, and that's where the deal is done, right? But we want to start them out in a facility like this to get them excited about why they should either stay home, right, in the Southern Illinois region, or why they should leave the areas and regions they're in and come to our campus to experience what's happening here. So again, just thanks, Trustee Tedrick, to you and your wife for this wonderful and incredible gift. It's going to pay off big time, and we think it's part of our strategic plan and strategic enrollment management plan. As I talk with Wendell Williams and his staff over there, it's just another way we're going to be able to have some nice leverage, right, to be able to increase our enrollment to get to that 15,000 by 2030. All right, it's time for the Chicago Takeover. We're excited. This is coming up in a couple of weeks. Dr. Lee is going to be with us on this journey. So we've added our Faculty Senate President, and we've got some others. The 24th through the 26th, let me give you an idea. The Takeover touches on a number of different things that happen beyond just the reception. So we have several meetings that are set up with CPS up in Chicago, with all of our partners at the university centers, College of Lake County, College of DuPage, Harper, our university center there. These are a lot of Hope Chicago. We've got a lot of meetings that are scheduled to really keep us connected and selfishly, right, to attract more students out of Chicago. And so this event allows us to connect with alumni and donors and other movers and shakers in the Chicago area. We've got a lot of alums that are in that area, and they're very, very supportive of the work that we're doing, and they're really excited to be a part of what's happening at SIU Carbondale. So looking forward to that event. We have other takeovers that we have throughout the year, and so again, we're really excited about what's happening there. Our Saluki Women's Weekend is coming up on the 19th through the 21st. Our foundation, Sherika and Matt and others do a tremendous job with this weekend, and we've got a lot of our recognition of our women and the leaders that really make things work, make things go. So excited about what's happening there. A lot of events coming forward. I think this was the final slide. We're shutting down the trip, so I want to be careful. Everybody usually goes back historically to what used to happen in Carbondale over the holiday, you know, the Halloween and those kinds of things. So it was pretty wild. So I promised Dr. Mahoney and Chairman Gilbert, we won't go too crazy here, but they are going to shut the strip down around the homecoming time and really bring our alums back. There's going to be some concerts out there, but it's going to be a great event that really brings the Saluki Nation back together, and we're excited to be able to work with the city of Carbondale to make this possible. They were very critical in us being able to do this. I do want to thank Carolyn, Mayor Harvey, and others that really helped to make this possible. So on that note, all the way around, we're excited about the fall semester. We're excited about the growth that's happening at the institution, but looking forward to doing much more. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Chancellor Lane. I guess that October 11th, is that homecoming weekend? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Dean Cruz.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My presentation today will focus just on one topic, and I'm not going to give most of it myself. Dr. Prakash will. But before I introduce her, I just have a few introductory words to make myself. So on July the 6th, Sonia Massey dialed 911 for help. And when there was the emergency response by the police, she wound up being shot and killed by one of the police officers. Over the past 3 years in Springfield, there have been two similar incidents. Greg Small Jr. and Earl Moore Jr. Also had made calls for help, and when the helping professions arrived, they wound up being killed as well. So local events like these demonstrate that racially motivated violence and improper use of firearms and other methods of improper violence are civil emergencies and ethical emergencies and public health emergencies. And we do focus on things that are public health emergencies. And one of them that we have a group for, and we've had for several years, is Firearm and Workplace Violence Work Group. So I'd now like to introduce Dr. Vidya Prakash. Dr. Prakash is Professor of Internal Medicine and Infectious Disease. She's the Associate Dean for Clinical Affairs and Population Health. She's the Chief Medical Officer of SIU Medicine, our clinical practice, and she's the Director of the Alliance for Women in Medicine and Science at the SIU School of Medicine. Dr. Prakash.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz, for that introduction, and thank you to the SIU Board of Trustees for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit about our work. The SIU School of Medicine's Firearm and Workplace Violence Work Group is a data-driven and solution-focused collaboration focused on reducing firearm and workplace violence through information gathering, education, prevention, utilization of resources, and a unified response. We're comprised of SIU School of Medicine physicians, staff, faculty, and community partners, including our hospital partners, Memorial Health and HSHS St. John's Hospital. Next slide. We recognize that data is foundational to this work, and we started to look at our own internal data. And if you look at the chart before you, you see clearly that our incidents of workplace violence have steadily increased over the last 5 years. If you look at the pie graph in the bottom left corner, you'll see that a majority of these incidents are really rooted in verbal aggression and verbal threats, but we have had physical acts of violence where healthcare workers and clinicians and staff have sustained bodily injury from patients. Next slide. So what have we done at SIU Medicine? We've started with messaging. The work group, which was initiated in 2022 as a response to increasing feedback from our own staff and faculty about these incidents of workplace violence and a slew of shootings that occurred across this country, a couple of them in healthcare centers. We decided to message our people to show that we're committed to supporting them and protecting them. So we have signage in all of our clinical areas showing that we're committed to providing a safe and supportive environment of healing and that we will not tolerate acts of aggression in any manner. And this is our message to our people, that we're going to uphold our commitment to protect them, and to our patients that while we're here to optimize their health, we also will not, absolutely not tolerate acts of aggression in any form. Next slide. Unfortunately, we started seeing increased acts of discrimination, especially from our patients towards our healthcare professionals. So what did we do? We initiated a collaborative work group to look at this, and looking at the data and looking at this thoughtfully, we instituted in January of 2023 a patient preference policy. And according to this policy, and you'll notice the signage that we have all across our clinical practice, we will not routinely accommodate requests for a different provider by a patient or their proxy based on race, ethnicity, gender, or any other protected characteristics. And again, you notice from the signage, we emphasize we will protect the human dignity and health of patients and providers. So this is across the healthcare practice. Next slide. How prepared are we in the case of active threats, particularly active shooters? You see Chief Ben Newman, our Chief of Security and Police, who was instrumental in providing training. He and his team went to areas across the clinical practice and provided safety training. If there is an active shooter in your space, where do you go? Who do you call? Where can you hide? You see licensed clinical social workers, Janae Hansen and Andrea Peterson, who provided de-escalation training across the practice. In the setting of a threatening person, especially a threatening patient, how do you de-escalate? How do you calm the situation down? And so all of those things together have been really crucial for our frontline providers to handle those situations in real time. Chief Newman, along with Alan Mays, organized an August 8th, 2023 tabletop exercise, which brought people from across our organization in a collaborative setting to really look at, if there is an active shooter tomorrow, are we prepared as an organization to protect our people and be prepared as possible? And so this real-world exercise was crucial for us to understand how prepared are we and what steps do we need to take to be as prepared as possible and protect our people. Next slide. How are our clinicians preparing our patients or having these conversations with our patients? Our work group has a sub-work group consisting of clinical champions from the departments of Family and Community Medicine, Obstetrics and Gynecology, Pediatrics, General Internal Medicine, and Psychiatry. And what we've done is in all of those areas, which are the front lines of primary care, for every new patient appointment and follow-up appointment, especially for well-child appointments, we have this flyer, which is from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and our clinicians discuss this flyer with patients. You'll notice that the message is not, you should not own guns. It's, if you do own a gun, this is how you keep it safe, and this is how you keep your family safe. Next slide. We've increased our footprint, both statewide and nationally. On the left, you'll notice Kate Moore and Dr. Scott Pasachow were representatives of SIU School of Medicine on a statewide panel on gun violence as a public health crisis. And this was hosted by the Office of the Lieutenant Governor. And on the right, if you look at the faculty member second from the right, that's Dr. Prasanta Bhamadapati. She represented us nationally at a remembrance conference in Michigan co-hosted by the American Association of Medical Colleges. And it was a nationwide conference bringing healthcare workers together, specifically physicians and medical students, on how we unite to enact public health policy to protect our people from firearm and workplace violence. Next slide. We recently had a Department of Internal Medicine Grand Rounds featuring Kate Moore and Janae Hansen, who you see pictured there, who are the co-directors of this work group, Dr. John Sutyak, who is a trauma surgeon, and on the far left, some of you may recognize Mr. John Ridley, who is the director of our Sangamon County Public Health Department. Next slide. And as a result of all of these conversations, John has taken it upon himself, John Ridley, to go across the community to connect with community members to develop a strategy to mitigate gun violence. And in all of the settings that I have had the privilege of sharing with John Ridley, what does he say about the school? He consistently says the school is 2 years ahead of all of us in all of this. And I think that's a testament to our leadership. You just heard from our dean, Dr. Cruz. When you have leadership who understands that this is a priority and gives the green light, yes, you need to move forward with this work group. This is how we protect our community, and this is how we enable change. And I'll close by saying that Mr. Ridley is in the process of meeting with county administrators to determine how to best move forward in the wake of the tragic death of Sonia Massey. And if there's one book that I could recommend, it would be The Bodies Keep Coming by Dr. Brian L. Williams. He is a Black trauma surgeon, and he talks all about his experiences with gun violence as being on the front line as a physician, with the bodies literally coming over and over again, and offers real world advice based on his experiences of how we in healthcare is our lane. It absolutely is our lane. And what steps can we take to mitigate gun violence to ultimately protect our patients and our community? Dr. Cruz, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Dr. Prakash. I'll just say that across the School of Medicine, the groups that have arisen in various topics that relate to these issues is amazing. And the Sonia Massey Commission has been formed in Springfield, and they'll be looking to the School of Medicine for a lot of expertise for that committee. And I will be one of the co-chairs of that commission as well. So anyway, that's our report.
Thank you, Dean. Any questions of Dean Cruz? Thank you very much. Very good work you're doing. Chancellor Minor?
Thank you, Chair Gilbert. I always like to begin the report with updates that reflect the mission of the university. About 3 weeks ago, on August 19th, we officially began the fall term. But the week prior, we held what's called Welcome Week and now Convocation. In addition to getting students moved in, as you see here, SIUE hosted a series of activities focused on welcoming and orienting students to campus in ways that we hope will improve the likelihood of success. So I won't go through all of the activities. I do want to highlight just 2 elements of our Welcome Week and Convocation programming. The first thing that I would highlight are what we are now calling academic sessions. Now, that may not sound very popular to students who are just arriving to campus, but they were added this year thanks to the Provost's office, our faculty. I see Dr. Brosheva here, who worked really hard to get students connected to their academic program, their academic major, even before their first week of class. Now, most of us realize that the tradition in higher education is to say to students, take your general education curriculum courses first, and then we'll let you into the major. But the week before their very first class, they're already engaging faculty. They're already in their academic departments. What we hope is developing an academic identity. The second thing that I will mention is that students were welcomed by our entire university community. You'll see portions of the video clip here of them processing from the Vidalabine Center to the main quad for their class photo. And we want them to feel properly celebrated as they begin their college journey. I also want to say, I don't know if, thought I saw President Mahoney make the clip. I just want to publicly say thank you for attending. We made that walk together with students from the Vidal Bean Center over to the Quad. Second thing I'll mention is fall enrollment now stands at 11,893. You heard Chancellor Lane mention elements of building the machine that produces the results that we want. That same process is underway at SIUE. There are a couple of notable things that I want to mention for this year's class. As you see on the screen, we enrolled roughly the same number of new students this year compared to last year, +2 if you're counting. I'll take them. The decline is mostly due to attrition that we see across higher education students who departed. We have been very clear that our enrollment management strategy is critical, that we focus on the enrollment of new students and the retention of students who are currently enrolled. And we certainly want to do a better job of that, and I'll cover our retention strategy in just a moment. The students in the first year undergraduate class come from 429 different high schools, 21 states, and 18 countries. The class has an average GPA of 3.5, and 26% of the incoming class arrived with a 4.0. I do want to publicly commend our enrollment management team. Together, they were able to overcome some pretty significant obstacles, internal challenges due to leadership vacancies, the challenges with FAFSA, to post the numbers that they did this year. I think by all accounts, the numbers on the screen were not guaranteed as we went through the admission cycle, but I really am proud of what our team was able to do despite the challenges. As I mentioned, we're working very hard on improving retention. First to second year retention is typically the most critical milestone, but we learned looking at our data that we were also losing students after their second year, right? So typically the first to second year retention is the critical milestone. If students are retained first to second year, they've got a great chance of earning their degree. But we were losing students after their second year, and some of that had to do with them not being able to access their major. Again, I want to credit the provost office staff. This fall was the first fall that we went to what we're referring to as direct entry. Students, the percentage of students who now have direct entry on their major, we had a practice, Dr. McCracken, I think it's fair to say that the overwhelming majority of students who arrived were not admitted to their major right away. And we made them wait until their second year. Some got in, some didn't, and it was a major contributor to attrition. So thank you to the team for making that shift this year. So what you'll see for first to second year retention is significant improvements. I think this is important. We're up about 3.6% overall, but and all of these categories are important. I particularly want to call your attention to the Pell eligible category and the first generation category. All right, 7 percentage point increase for Pell eligible students, which is the traditional proxy for students who are coming from low income households. And for students who are the first in their family, these are traditionally very difficult populations to retain first to second year. So we're really pleased with that. Now, I will point out that the African-American slide, last year I came here and reported that we experienced a 10.2 percentage point increase with that population. So some on our campus would argue that we're still up 8 percentage points over 2 years, but I think some of the slide here from year to year really has to do with how we're scaling the programs that are targeted to first to second year retention. These on our campus have traditionally been boutiques. We are now scaling them, and the capacity and the staffing for some of these programs has to follow. Second thing, I'll mention just by way of our enrollment picture. Earlier this year, we announced changes to the SIUE commitment, and we announced SIUE Go, which stands for the Gateway Opportunity Program. We changed the income threshold. So the SIUE commitment offers free tuition and fees for students who are arriving below an income threshold of $113,575. We raised the threshold from $63,575 to $113,575, and you'll see what that has meant for students in the state of Illinois participating in this program. We also launched for the first time this year SIUE Go, which is the Gateway Opportunity Program, as I mentioned. For students on the Missouri side of the river, for fall 23, it says new, it didn't exist, but we're enrolling 80 students who are first-year students and 10 students, and we expect both of these programs to grow. I just want to make a note here about college affordability. So you'll see the total there. It's sort of plus 472 for students who are participating in this program. College affordability remains a challenge. All of this, the focus on student nutrition and retaining them, so much of it has to do with their ability to afford college. And we talk about SIUE being high quality, accessible, and affordable. Last year, even before the expansion of these programs, 1/2 of SIUE undergraduates from the state of Illinois paid 50% or less of tuition and fees after receiving scholarships and financial aid. And this includes 86% of undergraduates who are from low-income households keeping a college degree within reach. The next couple of slides I want to show you have to do with SIUE's region or impact on the region. Something that we have paid a lot of attention to is sort of understanding that we're having an intentional footprint across the region. I want to share that SIUE space in the Southwestern Illinois Justice and Workforce Development Campus. I'm still looking for an acronym to say that. The campus in Belleville is nearing completion today as I speak. SIUE is offering coursework for the new Masters in Forensic Science program. The Center for Crime Science and Violence Prevention and the Institute for Community Justice and Racial Equity have moved in. The director of the Institute, Dr. Tandra Taylor, is now there full-time, deepening connections with community partners and advancing research in St. Clair County. You may remember I mentioned a few meetings ago about the Freedom School, which she also leads. In addition to the School of Dental Medicine here, we are also expecting the highly anticipated Wedge Innovation Center, which is scheduled to open in October. SIUE will play a critical role, have a substantial presence in the Wedge. Most of you know, the Wedge will support early stage and growth-driven companies to serve as a workforce training center and a digital hub. Think fiber networks and AI, according to the new executive director, Emily Hemingway. SIUE will expand access to alternative digital credentials and focus on its geospatial research and technologies in the Metro East. So that's Belleville and Alton. I'll now go to East St. Louis. Pictured here is the mobile clinic, which is supported by a $4 million grant. SIUE established this mobile clinic. It's called the We Care Clinic REACH. I want to get this correct. So REACH is actually an acronym that stands for Responding, Educating, and Advocating for Community Health. So the unit made its debut earlier this year, February, I think, and it supports the expansion of healthcare services on the ground in communities and neighborhoods for individuals who may not have direct access to healthcare. So you could imagine this mobile unit parking on your block or someplace that may be more accessible to you. Between February and July, the clinic made 12 stops throughout the Metro East, and more than 30 SIUE undergraduates are participating in community-based programming through the mobile unit, providing invaluable hands-on learning experience for them. So now let me bookend the mobile clinic with providing critical access to early childhood learning opportunities through our Head Start programs that are also administered out of the East St. Louis campus. Earlier this year, we reported the new partnership with New Life Christian Church to open a new Head Start location just east of East St. Louis in Lebanon. I'm pleased to report that that program is now enrolling pre-K students, providing critical child care opportunities for families. So SIU is providing vital health care and child care in the region. A number of the mobile clinic stops, the reason why I'm bookending them, a number of the mobile clinic stops were at the Head Start locations. So the location in Cahokia, JJK in East St. Louis, and Bluffview are just a couple of examples. All right, so we've covered Belleville, Alton, East St. Louis. I'm now moving on to Edwardsville. The photo you see here on the screen, the student on the left is not a college student. The student on the left is actually a high school student. We have focused a lot on our summer programming, mainly our camps, to make a better connection between those summer camp opportunities and academic programs. So the student you see here is participating in the School of Nursing Imagine Summer Success Academy, which welcomed 30 underrepresented high school students for hands-on learning activities, practical skills training, mentorship, and college preparation to introduce them to the possibilities of nursing careers. Engineering had a similar program that introduced high school students to diverse disciplines in engineering, 3D modeling, and robotics. So last year, we touted this list of summer activities and the number of middle and high school students we have on campus. I think the message here to our communities and our pre-collegiate students is that we're not just offering you a summer camp experience, we want you to have a pathway to an academic program here at SIUE. All right, I'll conclude the presentation with just two updates I think are university accomplishments. The university recently received a $1 million grant from the Mellon Foundation to support the expansion of CODES. CODES, as you know, is a unique strand of our undergraduate curriculum. It is a competitive program accompanied by a scholarship for incoming students who are Pell eligible, first generation, or historically underrepresented in their major. The students remain in a cohort through their general education curriculum experience, and they partner with community organizations to solve real problems as a part of their curriculum. Now, you may remember me saying that one of the unique features of this program is first-year students who are participating in CODES in their very first semester of college are in community solving real problems as a part of their curriculum. We thought that this was so special that we approached national foundations to support the program. The other powerful element about CODES is that it is composed of underrepresented students, Pell eligible students. As you saw on the chart previously, those most likely to depart after their first year of college. 100% of the students in CODES are in good academic standing, and the latest cohort posted a retention rate of 87% compared to 69% of students from the same demographic. That is remarkable. So students from that demographic would typically have a first to second year retention rate of 69%. The students who are participating in CODES has a retention rate of 87%. The Mellon grant will expand the program, will add faculty, will add staff, and will go from 25 students per cohort to 100, which is significant. So I want to publicly thank Dr. Jessica Despain, Dr. Jessica Harris, and the provost who worked really hard on the grant. And I think the grant from the Mellon Foundation is recognition of how unique and novel this element of our undergraduate curriculum is. There's a student that I had to meet. So every year at the beginning of the year, that incoming codes cohort, there's a sort of orientation for those programs where you get to meet them, the students and their families. I want you to meet one of the incoming students. His name is Jaden.
My name is Jaden DeBoe. I'm from Fairview Heights, Illinois, and I'm majoring in computer science.
My name is Ashley Davey. I'm the mother of Jaden DeBoe. He's going to be an incoming freshman here.
My name is Jaden DeBoe. I'm from Fairview Heights, Illinois, and I'm majoring in computer science.
My name is Ashley Davey. I'm the mother of Jaden DeBoe. He's going to be an incoming freshman here at SIU and a part of the CODES program.
It kind of reminds me of something my mom said, that everything I've done in high school, every class I've taken, every test that I passed, it all led me up to this moment. And even though I might not feel that I'm prepared, in those moments of doubt, I just got to remind myself that I did this. So if I can make it this far, I can keep pushing forward.
With CODES, this will take a huge burden off our shoulders. I know financially I wouldn't be able to provide this to Jaden, and for him to be able to come here and experience all this and meet all these amazing people, I'm just so blessed and grateful that he's able to do this, because it's something that I couldn't as a mother do for him. So.
Well, I'd like to meet a lot more people. I'd like to kind of just get out of my comfort zone, kind of get used to talking to people that I don't know. And that's what I'm really excited for about CODES, is that I can finally be with a group of people that I don't know, but we all have the same common interests, so it's easier for us to kind of understand each other.
I've always wanted to have like a scholarship fund and things like that set up for Jaden, and I didn't prepare that. So I really truly am, from the bottom of my heart, just really blessed and really happy for him.
But let me just tell one human story about what it means to serve students. So we have a growing motto at SIUE that it's one student at a time. So here's Jaden in Lovejoy Library for the orientation program for CODES. He's been accepted, he's been admitted, he has a scholarship, he's in a cohort. During the orientation program, Jaden is having second thoughts about college. These are accomplished students, 3.5, 3.8. And even in this moment, he's thinking, his disposition was, I want to go home. Letty and I were there. We've had we recruited Jaden. You'll see that he already has a School of Engineering t-shirt on. So we saw him in high school. We were pleased to welcome him. But even for our most accomplished students, our high achieving students, their transition from high school to college is not a guarantee. And the kind of programming that we have to execute on campus to give them the confidence, to give them strong legs to start college is just one example. Now, we think he's going to do fine in the engineering program. He's going to be an excellent engineer, but it's just one example of how fragile incoming students can be and how unsure they can be even when they're in a program like CODES. All right, I'll end with SIUE hoisting a trophy. It's always a good way to conclude a presentation. I am pleased to report for the second straight year in a row, SIUE brings home the Bronze Boot Trophy. Yeah, I like that. The historic matchup between SIUE and SLU, which I think began in the 70s, is played now for the second straight year at City Park. It is now a double header. The women lost the early matchup against the SLU women's team, but the men were victorious for a second year in a row. It's interesting, we watched the headlines, Katie, across the region, that all of the SLU headlines were about the women's match, and all of the SIUE headlines were about the men's match. No surprise there. But this is really good. The reason why I mentioned this in the report is not just to focus on athletics. This is played in St. Louis between SIUE and SLU. And our hope is that this is an annual event to showcase both of the institutions in the region. I said to Paula earlier today, after we played the first match, the second match at City Park was not a guarantee. And how important it was for the matchups to be competitive, for this to be considered a rivalry. So the win was more important than just something for the men's soccer program. I think it's important for the future of this matchup. It also allows us to invite alumni, business leaders from the region to experience the opportunity to be in City Park for this matchup. So you'll see here pictured, obviously, our special guest, President Mahoney, and Paula Keith, who are there, pictured with Representative Stewart, their alumni. The two brothers that are holding the trophy are the two sons for whom the bronze boot is named after. So it was a wonderful celebration of the university, of our men's soccer program, and we hope that the bronze boot continues at City Park. Chair Gilbert, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Minor. These have been three outstanding reports from our campuses. And it shows that we are providing opportunities not only for our current students, but their future students, and we're also impacting our local communities. And that's what this university is all about. President Mahoney.
Yeah, I'll start with, I just want to say a big thanks to people on both the campuses. As you heard when we talked about enrollment, that new student enrollment is up. And I'll tell you why that's a bit of a surprise. Given the issues with the FAST for this year, if you had asked me 6 months ago whether I'd be saying we're up in new students on both campuses, I would not put a lot of money on yes. This was an extreme challenge. And the only way it really happened was a lot of work by our staff to really reach out to students, reach out to their families. It compressed a timeline that is already pretty stressful because a lot of things came in very late. It forced them to, again, do more communication than they've ever done before in an environment that was entirely uncertain. So to get to where we are does not happen by accident. It happens because of a lot of hard work by a lot of people. So a big thanks to all of them. I also want to pick up on something that Chancellor Minor talked about, and he talked about the importance of keeping college affordable, which is certainly the case. That is a big reason we lose students. But another reason we lose students is because they don't feel they're connected and they don't have that sense of belonging. And I think a lot of the things that Chancellor Minor talked about are trying to basically build those connections and that sense of belonging early on, whether it's through things like the codes program, or connecting people to their major immediately. I think that's an important thing. I was talking to some people on the campus the other day, and when I was an undergraduate student, I took a chemistry class. I was an accounting major. I took a chemistry class for those people who don't like science. And so fortunately for me, I got to meet a lot of other accounting students who were in the same position I was in, and that cohort became my cohort for the next 4 years, and making those connections early on was really important. Now, the university didn't plan that. It was very unintentional. We're trying to be intentional about creating those connections early on. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there's a lot going on nationally right now, which is preventing us from doing programs in higher education that create those connections. We're not in one of those places, so we have the opportunity to do things that other places can. And we are doing a lot that we talked about today. There are other things we'll talk about in the future that we're doing to kind of help build those connections for students. But again, a lot of times it's finances and simply a feeling I don't belong here that really lead to reductions in retention. One of the big themes today really has been collaboration, as well as the impact that we have on our communities. So what we're going to talk about now is an economic impact study. And just to give you a little bit of background, This has not been done for a while. I think the last one at Carbondale was done by Dr. Sharma a while ago. He probably could give you the exact year.
2011.
2011, so it's been a little while. Edwardsville had done one a little bit more recently, but when we began talking about this a few years ago, it made much more sense to do this as a collaborative effort to actually create an economic impact for the entire system, as well as then break it down for each of the locations. Of course, that was a few years ago during the pandemic, so we kind of waited a little bit because anything we would have done during that period would have been misleading in what the impact was. So we needed to get to a more normal period of time. You have in your information a handout that Katie Sheehan put together, and Katie, I think, just left because she's doing some things in the community back in Springfield she had to get back to, but thank you to Katie for putting this together. You can see some of the people involved, and it really was a collaboration across the system. But now I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Asirvatham and Dr. Gilbert, who will present the economic impact study for the SIU system.
Thank you, President Mahoney, and wanted to acknowledge Trustee Sharma's first one. We took that as a very good guide, so thank you very much. And welcome all the board members. So myself, Jeb, and Scott here. So we will be just talking about the economic and public impact. So we will talk about the ones that we will actually measure, that you can take the numbers and talk about it, but the numbers that we can't measure, but we should be aware of it because those are the ones that really make this institution really great. So one overarching, there is a one line that you can take up from here is that we have a huge presence and a huge impact. And it's literally what it says on the system. It's a statewide impact, both in presence as well as the alumni, the graduates that we send out throughout the state, really doing a great job. So we will not focus so much on the team. We will show the list, all the contributors, but of course there are so numerous other folks who have actually contributed to this in providing data, just so much other helps. And we will open it up for questions towards the end. So the traditional role of a university is what we think of as research, learning, training, voluntary service, so research, education, and service. We will still talk about those, but these are not the face of it. We will be having a different set of categories, but essentially we are capturing all of these as well. So this is the presence. As you can see, we are spread across, but of course dominated more in the southern and the eastern side, or the western side here. We are going to be talking more about the economic impact, but we should be aware that we also have a public impact. And I'm going to show you what we are not measuring. For example, I'm just taking an example from each campus here. So for example, free job fair at Edwardsville. The number of people who actually get jobs and come over there and are helped is just invaluable. Then we have the medicine, SIU medicine. These are just two examples, free health screening. We do have the cost that goes into it, but the service that is provided to the community, like health screening, this is a prostate cancer. And at the bottom one, you see the farm SOS. And coming from ag background, I hear firsthand stories about the impact that the school has on the local community. Then, of course, we have, I just wanted to give a very different events that we all host. Everyone does quite a bit of overlap, different things, but these are the U.S. Marine Band. This is a free event hosted by the Carbondale campus. I wanted to make sure that I actually it's a free event. I got the tickets before I showed it to you all of you. The bottom half is actually some environmental cleanup activity that is going on. So really, these are not the ones that we are capturing. So the numbers that we show is really conservative of the conservative estimate. So you should always go back and say, this is the lowest that we are reporting, but our impact is much bigger. So we are capturing all of those three campuses combined together as a system. So I want to thank all the campus heads for really assigning individuals whom we could contact to get the data. So our results are as effective as the data are. So we stand on the pillars of all these data that are provided to us. So this is just a list of models and assumptions that we are showing that we are following a very standard estimation models and methods. We won't go into the detail because we have the numbers to show you, but the data are pretty sure. And so we are pretty confident about the estimates that we are presenting to you all today. Just to give an example, what are we talking about as an economic impact? So this is just an example, health sciences complex that is being built in Edwardsville campus. So the direct impact is all the building materials and everything that goes into actual building. The indirects, and now all of these folks will demand, so for example, electric sockets, concrete, and other inputs from other industries. So those are what we call as indirect impacts. Now, both directly affected companies and businesses, as well as those who are indirectly affected businesses, they will employ scores of people, workers, wagers, salaried employees, and they will further go into the economy, and create an impact. So those are being captured under the induced impact. So we really are capturing the ripple effects of all the money that goes into it. So this is just an example for us to understand. Education is a little different. It's more dynamic, but you're welcome to ask us questions and we can go into the details. But we are capturing all the three levels in this one. So as I showed you, the traditional role of the university, research, education, and service, but we are going to this is the face of all of that, which is the operations, students, visitors, and the alumni. And I will give Scott the opportunity to speak about this.
Sure, so we could put some numbers and some big numbers, big dollar numbers and big numbers in terms of employment as well into this, which is very exciting. So operations, you're running the universities, the campuses, and all the wonderful things that they provide kind of on a daily and annual basis, including the classes and wonderful performances and athletic activities, and so much more, are all things, and research, of course, and we have some more. And those boil down to some, wonderful outcomes for those that are involved in them, and some dollars and jobs. So going along with what Jeb was mentioning earlier, we have, the bottom lines are at the very bottom of the screen. We have about $2 billion of economic impact from these kind of things, these pictured activities that you see, and they break down into, certain parts. Actual just direct spending on those activities itself is kind of that top number, around $1 million. And basically for the economists, there's a sort of a multiplier effect. So the money you put into the activity, you get more on the way out, and it's usually around about a 2 to 1, so multiplier of 2, let's say. And that's kind of how then this and some future slides deliver. So that's a nice big amount of dollars, and as also we have a lot of jobs, and similarly kind of a doubling of around 12,000 jobs in the system, but then translating to almost 17,000 jobs for the community as a whole, of those that are working in the SIU system and those that are in the communities. We also have, let me click through and see if we see it. Visitors, of course, attend our amazing events, athletic, arts, and otherwise on our campuses. It's wonderful to see them there, and there are other nice things that they will do for us in terms of the economy. Of course, many will have stayed in our hotels, eaten in restaurants, and otherwise spent. So that does add up to a significant amount of money, around $17 million per year across the different campuses. And this split up, those again kind of go into the different categories from the direct all the way to the end. And as well delivers a certain number of jobs, over 100 jobs, about 130 jobs or so, just associated with supporting all those visitors and their activities in the community. Students spend money, of course, on their education to a certain extent, but they also spend in the community, and that is certainly a much appreciated and valuable impact on the community itself, and nearly $300 million of impact for this fiscal year study. And once again, breaking up into those parts and pieces that we talked about in the other slides. Another way of kind of measuring the benefit and the impact of the university system is how good an investment is this for our students that could have done something else. They decided to go to college, and they could have done something like become an electrician. They could have possibly chosen different paths of life. And so it's good to have some dollars that go along with that. And so basically, when it comes down to it, and it depends on the campus, but students, even counting for the fact that they had to spend money to go to school and that they could have had some income from, say, being an electrician or something else, the net effect, the net benefit in terms of return on investment is between $1 million during their work lives to $7 million. Again, depending on the campus, and that's without discounting. If you put in discounting, the numbers can be a bit less, but we also put both of those kind of measurements into the report. But it's nice to see a very handsome and attractive return on investment for our SIU students that become alumni. And with that, Jeb, is this a good handout point?
Just to reemphasize the total economic impact when we sum together, here I just have some animation just to show $2 billion. This is all within the state of Illinois. So that's another thing we wanted to make sure. If you expand it to the US, it's going to just be much bigger. So this is all staying within the state of Illinois. $2 billion student spending, that is over $250 million. The taxpayers provide, this is a big number for us. The state's investment in SIU yields this much. And if you really look at their return on investment, this is the number that most parents or even the students who actually invest pay money for their own education, or the parents who actually put in, and also others, fellowship and others who actually provide to the students. Students with a degree from SIU, the range is from $2.74 to $8.61. So for every dollar that they spend, this is the return they get. And for taxpayers, it's 1.81. Again, this is just a lower bar. You can actually, if you capture other aspects as well, it'll be much higher. The visitors that we have, it's also, it includes, these are just the measured ones, but there are so many other events, like I mentioned, which is like free events, and it's invaluable, priceless, but it's very difficult to capture those, the impact of those. But the ROI for students and taxpayers is what we also wanted to emphasize on this. And so this is just a list of the names, and of course everyone provided a lot of input. But I wanted to highlight one name, Tim Sullivan from SIU Edwardsville, who is the one who put together this study proposal, and due to health reasons, he had to step aside. And this is where Scott and I took over, but he has been instrumental in setting all the different elements and how should it be conducted and all the details. So the proposal was put together by Tim Sullivan, so thank you.
I need to ask a question. I know it's hard to compare apples and oranges from when Dr. Sharma did this, but Dr. Sharma, how does this compare in terms
Well,
of what you did?
At that time, we only did for Carbondale and School of Medicine. It was not for the system, because SIU Edwardsville were separate. They were doing their own. There was no cooperation between the two campuses. But I don't remember the numbers. These guys have done, Scott and Jeb has done a great job. Done a great
In
job.
terms of apples to oranges, it's like bigger apple, I guess.
Well, this is apple time, in the.
No, I'm very pleased to see after 10, 12 years to this study again. And system-wide, I think this is the first system-wide economic impact study since the system started, I believe. Never been done before.
Dr. Mahoney, how do you anticipate getting this story out to our legislators and to the general public?
In a variety of different ways, and I will say because we wanted to kind of focus on the overall system impact, but one of the other things we are able to do is break it down by each location. So as, for example, Dean Cruz or myself are meeting with people, say in Sangamon County, we can look more specifically at the impact of the School of Medicine on their community. Likewise in the Metro East and in the Carbondale area. So we can break it down in all three ways, as well as presenting the system-wide overview. But we're hoping to do it both through kind of traditional media, but also in our meetings with legislators. Certainly when we testify before the legislature, this will be something we'll highlight. But we're going to get this out. This is part of Katie's job, to get this out as widely as we can to different audiences. But we have lots of opportunities to present this to the legislature specifically.
Are we anticipating, putting this in, condensing it and putting it into a press release to release? Yeah, good. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, yes, that we're absolutely doing, but again, we'll keep following it up.
Sure.
And usually with these, we can use these for several years
Okay.
as a source, because we do get asked that question quite a bit, what is the impact? And
Okay.
frankly, we didn't have that number. It was kind of hard to go back to one that was from
Okay.
over a decade ago.
Outstanding.
I would like to mention that we have, like Mr. Mahoney mentioned, we have for each campuses. So we already submitted the reports and we are working with them to just finish it off and just putting the final touches.
Outstanding.
Of those 3 campuses.
Any other questions? Comments? No. Thank you very much.
Very much.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, our next item is a call for the omnibus motion. Trustees have had approximately 10 days to study the items on the agenda. A certain number are routine or self-explanatory, so as to save time, we act upon them in one motion and one vote. Madam Secretary, please read the items suggested for the omnibus motion.
The omnibus motion includes board agenda items H through V and board agenda items X through Z.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve these items?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis. Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
I declare the motion to approve the omnibus motion as passed. Board agenda item F, report of purchase orders and contracts, June and July 2024 SIUC. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Sir, I have a second.
Second.
Yeah. We're now going to ask for roll call vote on item F.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma, Simmons.
Yes.
Tedrick.
Abstain.
I declare the motion is passed. Board agenda item G, report of purchase orders and
Okay. Okay. We need to recall the vote for F.
recall the vote for F
Redo the motions.
in the motion. Okay, board agenda item F, report of purchase orders and contracts, June and July 2024 SIUC. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Now I'm going to ask for a roll call vote on item F.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Abstain.
Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma, Simmons.
Yes.
Tedrick.
Abstain.
All right, board, I declare that the motion is passed. Board agenda item G, report of purchase orders and contracts of June and July 2024 SIUE. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I will now ask for a roll call vote on item G.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Tedrick.
Abstain.
I declare the motion is passed. The next is board agenda item W, approval to acquire real estate at 720 and 725 North Bond Street, Springfield School of Medicine, SIUC. Do I have a motion to approve this item?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We're now going to ask for a roll call vote on board agenda item W.
Connolly, Curtis,
Abstain.
Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma,
Yes.
Simmons.
Yes.
Tedrick.
Yes.
I declare the motion is passed. That concludes the business of the Board of Trustees today. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the board will be held December 5th, 2024 at Illinois University, Carbondale. A news conference will be held immediately following the board meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the full board meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Connolly,
Yes.
Curtis, Ford,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Salger,
Yes.
Sharma, Simmons, Tedry.
Yes.
The motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.